So I'll just show you the papers one by one, and you see that they're all like this alcohol ink sort of look, and half of the prints also have this gold foiling. So we've got that one that's got all of the colors on it. I'll move that over to the side. And then we have this gorgeous one that, I don't know, it looks quite nautical to me. And then we have this one that is like, like this, like greenstone. And then we have some more flowers, each one looking like alcohol ink. And then this one's kind of like that green one, but this time in pinks and peaches. And this pink one's got the gold through it. And this one's probably my favorite, personally. That was the first one that I got out to use and cut. The greens, the various greens with the gold marbled through it. And then a green print, and then we've got this other green print. So one's more of a jade color and one's more of a pure pizzazz, or more of a true green. And then we've got the similar in the pale papaya. And then we've got one that's just a plain gold stripe, which is nice to mix in with the others. And then this one, which is the pale papayas with the gold detail on those. So quite a beautiful mix of papers. Let me move those out of the way. The first card I'm going to show you, now I do have a few samples to show you, but this is the one that I'm going to make with you tonight. And this one is using the potted, I believe it's called potted succulent die. So it's this die here, and it's just this beautiful kind of net look, but it's not too florally. Which is nice. And then I'm going to use those beautiful papers in behind. So I'll set that up here in the corner. We're going to start with our card base of basic white. And this is 5.5 by 4 1/8. And then I've cut a piece of paper the exact same size and run that through the embossing folder, the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. And I'm just going to adhere that on top. And I'm actually just going to set that aside for the minute, because we're going to create our little focal point here. So I've cut this out already, and this is using the thick basic white and the stitched rectangles. And what I've done is use the largest rectangle and then the second largest rectangle and run them through together, and then you get that frame. And then that centerpiece I've just set aside for another day. I'm sure I'll have a project that I'll use that on. Okay, then we have our succulent die. I probably should have gotten a dark tablecloth for tonight. Now, it is a little bit bigger than this, and it does have like a little edge, but I've already trimmed that off to fit the frame that I'm using. And I'm going to use my tear and tape. The sample I used the glue, and it just made a heck of a mess, because you can see there's all these little, well, quite large holes actually. They're not little at all, and I ended up with glue all over stuff. So I recommend using tape for this particular step. And I'm going to just get my silicone sheet out so that I don't stick to my table mat here. We're just going to put these two pieces together. Now, you could make this to a shaker card. You would just want to add a piece of window sheet at this point. Now, let's see if I can get this lined up. Okay, wrong way around. There we go. Very delicate. Okay, then I'm going to use adhesive strips is what they're called. And I'm using these, one, because they're really easy to use on things like this, and two, because they're actually a little bit taller than dimensionals. So it's going to give me a little more height off of my designer series paper that's going to go underneath. And they curve around the corners pretty easily. These are perfect for shaker cards. They're great. And they are very sticky, like this. Okay, we'll get rid of those. Okay, then I'm gonna, this time, you can see I did a pink one the first time. I'm gonna use that greenstone, and so I wanted to do a different colorway. And because it's up on that thick dimensional, I've got a really nice 3D effect, which I don't know that you can see that well in a video, but I will put up photos. And I opted against using the floral images because I think they would actually compete with these, but I didn't try it. I could be wrong, but that was my thinking. Okay, then from there I'm going to put that onto our card base, and I'll just use glue for that. I do love those flowers. They're quite unusual. They're not kind of your usual sort of flowers. Then we're just going to embellish. So all I've done is I've cut a little like 3/4 inch strip and gold embossed the happy birthday. So I wanted to bring through the gold that's in there. And that happy birthday is in that stamp set. They actually have quite a few nice words in there. And I'm just going to put adhesive on the ends. I think I'll put it about towards the bottom. Okay, like that. And then we'll just do our ribbon bits. So I'm just going to tie a bow with the white seam binding ribbon, which is my go-to. If I don't use it as white, then you can just easily color it to match what you're doing, which it would be quite nice to color it in these various shades of green. Then I'm going to use the new Evening Evergreen ribbon. And I really like this color. It's just a nice dark green, but it's got a little bit of blue to it, which I like. So as you can see, I'm just cutting it in half up the middle, which I think you'll be seeing people do a lot with these, because then you get basically a really thin ribbon, and the little fine mesh in the middle, you can like hardly see it. So it's like you've just got a really fine ribbon now. And that little mesh just adds a bit of interest, but doesn't look terribly messy either. Not that I mind messy. And we'll put that on too, just with the glue dot. Okay, now it's covering a little bit of my happy birthday. I'm not really too worried about that because I think pretty much everyone would know what that's going to say. But you could glue dot down some of your ribbon if you wanted to. And then from there, we'll do some embellishing. Now, for the embellishing, I'm going to use the bumblebees. And I've been using these a lot today, and actually this week. And I'm going to put that about, I think about there. Well, it's there now, so that's where it's going. So I'll fiddle around with those ribbons a little bit later. And then we can add some embellishing. And so we can do some gold, or we can use pearls. I think I'm going to go for maybe a mix of the pearls and the gold. Let's see what that looks like. I don't think I actually like those. We'll just use the gold then. I'm just going to put them down into the little recesses. There we go. And then on the inside, which I think this piece is too long. Well, actually it's all right. I'm just going to grab my little scrap paper. On the inside, I will use a few of the stamps so you can see what those stamp like. And obviously on this one, I've got the pink I can play with. On this one, I've just got all green. So I just chose a few greens. And I think I'll go the mint macaron for the flower. This will be interesting. I've never done this before, stamped green flowers. But look at that. I'm inking it up and stamping it, and it comes out that detailed. It's so amazing. I just love these types of stamps. And then I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz and stamp some leaves. I'm not doing a great job lining those up, but it's all right. Maybe like that. And then in the shaded spruce, so the darker green, I'll just add, I might stamp those off because that ink is really dark. I'll just add a few dark flowers. Okay, so I think this might be a new thing that I really like. I think that actually looks really cool to have all green flowers and stuff. I'm going to trim that down before I put it in, but that would go in like that. And then this one I did some gold embossing and then the pink flower. So you can decide which one of those you like better, the pink one or the green one. I like them both, to be honest. Just close these ink pads before I drop something in it. All right, so let me show you some other things that I've come up with these papers. I'll put those over here. So this was the first one I did. So I mentioned to you that was my favorite paper, was the one that was a mix of the greens and very pale. And so I just wanted some simple words on there. You could just stamp your words and be done, but I chose to emboss them on vellum and then use some of those embellishments, the paper ones that I showed at the beginning of the video, and then a little piece of that striped paper as washi tape, and then inside just used another little bit of this paper and then used my kind of faux washi tape across the top there too. So I hope you like that one. And this one I did use those genial gems. They're quite pale, so you may not be able to see them very well. Okay, so that's one. And then this one was inspired by my personal favorite designer. Her name is Tammy Wilson. She lives in the US. She actually didn't use these papers. There's actually very little on the internet with these papers at the moment. But this was another design she did with totally other materials, but I just copied her layout. So you could just use your favorite designer series paper as a little square there. That's about 3 inches by 3 inches. And then the little coordinating, maybe 2 inch by 2 inch underneath. And then just your words and some ribbon. And of course I put the bee in there again. And this is some more of those little gold embellishments, the paper ones that I was showing you. So I like how that one turned out. And then I just stamped on the inside. And also notice the embossing folder. This is a new one we have, the polka dots. I quite like that. It just gives it an air of fun. Okay, then the last one I made today is this one here, which I love. So I didn't show you the stamps or the dies particularly, but this die set does have this absolutely gorgeous leaf. I just love it. And it's kind of curved, so you could even pile a bunch of them up and make a wreath. It's stunning. So I've just taken rectangles of the designer series paper and put that beautiful leaf across them. And honestly, I just felt like that was enough. It didn't need a whole lot more. Stamped some words and added just a few little gems, just for a nice simple card. But using your papers behind here is a nice way to showcase them, but still make it interesting, not just a piece of paper and nothing more. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those and that inspires you to pull out your papers or go shopping, whichever makes you happy tonight. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will answer after this video. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.